NASCAR said no. Cleetus McFarland showed up anyway. And the reason he is at Talladega this weekend goes far deeper than any race entry. This is not a story about a YouTube star crashing a race weekend. This is a story about a promise made to a dead man, a NASCAR Cup Series legend named Greg Biffle, who lost his life along with his wife and 2 children in a plane crash this past winter. Cleetus McFarland and his best friend George Siciliano made a promise to honor Biffle at Talladega. NASCAR denied Cleetus the race he wanted. He drove to Alabama anyway, because there is a second race at the same track on the same weekend, and he earned approval for that one. This weekend at Talladega Superspeedway is a triple header. The ARCA Menards Series, the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series, and the Cup Series all racing on the same track across Saturday and Sunday. 41 ARCA teams have entered, the largest ARCA field at Talladega since 2012. The Cup Series has 41 cars fighting for 40 spots, meaning one team goes home before the race even starts. And Tyler Reddick arrives as the hottest driver in the sport, 5 wins in 9 races, a pace not recorded since Dale Earnhardt in 1987. Stay with this, because what happens at the 70% mark of this story involves a 500th career start, a rain forecast, and a rule that could rob a veteran driver of the most significant milestone of his entire career. Talladega Superspeedway, 2026 NASCAR season, 3 series, 1 venue, 1 weekend. The ARCA Menards Series runs the Alabama Manufactured Housing 200 on Saturday at 12:30 p.m. Eastern on FS1. The O'Reilly Auto Parts Series runs the AG Pro 300 on Saturday at 4 p.m. Eastern on the CW. The Cup Series runs the Jack Links 500 on Sunday at 3 p.m. Eastern on Fox. 188 laps, 500 miles. Right in the center of all 3 races is one name that NASCAR tried to limit and could not keep away from the track entirely. Cleetus McFarland, real name Garrett Mitchell, 30 years old, YouTube star, owner of the Freedom Factory racetrack in Bradenton, Florida, a man with a fan base large enough to move NASCAR viewership numbers measurably, and a racing resume that is still being written one approved entry at a time. NASCAR denied his entry to the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series race at Talladega, the race that would have been his second career O'Reilly start. The official reasoning, they want more short-track experience before approving him for a superspeedway at that series level. They also want continued development in the ARCA and Craftsman Truck Series. Cleetus's public response was 4 words. It is what it is. He confirmed more Truck Series races are scheduled. His next O'Reilly start is booked at Nashville next month, and then he drove to Talladega, because the ARCA race is his and nobody took that away. He is racing the number 30 BaldEagle.com Ford for Rhett Jones Racing, the same team he made his first ARCA start with back in 2025. And this is his 3rd ARCA outing of the 2026 season. His 2025 ARCA resume at Talladega specifically, a 10th place finish. His first superspeedway result at this level. His career best in the series, 9th at Charlotte. He is not a stranger to this track. He is not walking in blind. But he is walking in carrying something heavier than any lap time. And that weight belongs to a man named Greg Biffle. Here is the promise. Cleetus McFarland and George Siciliano, his best friend, known online as LS George or Squirrel McNutt, made a commitment to honor Greg Biffle at Talladega. Biffle was a NASCAR Cup Series legend. He died this past winter in a plane crash that also killed his wife and 2 children. He had been one of the few voices inside professional racing who publicly supported Cleetus's transition from content creator to stock car driver. By earning NASCAR's approval to compete at Talladega in the ARCA race, George fulfills that promise. George is racing the number 0 Heatwave Visuals Ford this weekend, and this is the first time these 2 friends can actually function as drafting partners on a superspeedway. That distinction matters enormously at Talladega. On a 2-mile oval where the entire race is decided by aerodynamic cooperation, a trusted drafting partner can mean the difference between winning and running in the back for 200 miles. Cleetus and George have raced together for 3 consecutive weekends, but short tracks do not teach superspeedway drafting. Talladega is their first real classroom for that discipline. Kansas was rough for Cleetus. He finished 20th after losing an oil line and going on a wild slide through turns 1 and 2. George had a significantly better day, 12th place in his first race on a track larger than 1 mile. Both of them arrive at Talladega with something to prove, and a friend's memory to honor while proving it. Drop your prediction in the comments right now. Does Cleetus McFarland finish inside the top 10 in the ARCA race at Talladega? Or does the Superspeedway chaos take him out before the end? Because the field he is walking into is the most competitive ARCA lineup at this track in over a decade. And 41 teams entered for the Alabama Manufactured Housing 200, the largest ARCA field at Talladega since 2012. The top 36 in owner points lock in automatically. Joe Gibbs Racing's number 18 starts on pole as the owner points leader. The final 4 spots get determined by the fastest speeds in Friday's last practice session, meaning the last driver to make the field does not find out until Friday evening. Gio Ruggiero in the number 18 Toyota arrives as the dominant force in the series, going for his 3rd straight ARCA win after taking both Daytona and Kansas. Nobody has won 3 consecutive ARCA races at this level recently. Jack Wood arrives needing a bounce back. He led 39 laps at Kansas before a late crash ended his day. Bobby Earnhardt is in the field, and the Earnhardt name at Talladega carries a weight that statistics alone cannot measure. He is chasing the top 10 of the standings after a 9th at Daytona. Nitro Motorsports arrives with a 5-car team: Jake Finch, Gus Dean, Jake Bowman, Isabella Robusto, and Thomas Annunziata, one of the largest single-team commitments in ARCA this season. The Talladega ARCA historical record produces one consistent pattern: no repeat winner in 19 straight races. The last driver to win here more than once was 10-time series champion Frank Kimmel. Victories in 2006 and 2013. The closest finish in series history happened here in 2018 when Zane Smith beat Joe Graf Jr. by literally 0 seconds on the timing system, separated by inches at racing speed. This track does not produce predictable outcomes. It produces chaos, and the team that manages the chaos wins. While the ARCA race runs Saturday morning, the O'Reilly AG Pro 300 fires at 4 p.m. Eastern on the CW later the same day. 38 cars for 38 spots, no qualifying drama, everyone makes the show. Garrett Smithley, Carson Kvapil for JR Motorsports, and J.J. Yealy headline the field. This is the series Cleetus was denied entry to, and it runs a few hours after he finishes his ARCA race at the same track. He will watch from the infield or the hauler as the series he is working toward competes on the same surface he just raced. That contrast is the lived reality of NASCAR's approval process, and it is not comfortable for anyone involved. Now comes the Cup Series story. And this is where the weekend's most controversial moment is hiding in plain sight. The Jack Links 500 runs Sunday at 3 p.m. Eastern on Fox. 41 cars have entered for only 40 spots. All 36 full-time charter drivers are locked in. The 5 teams competing for the 4 remaining open positions: Jesse Love in the number 33 Richard Childress Racing Chevrolet, Joey Gase in the number 44 NY Racing Team, Casey Mears in the number 62 Beard Motorsports Chevrolet, Chad Fincham in the number 66 Garage 66 Ford, and Daniel Dye in the number 78 Live Fast Motorsports Chevrolet. Cup qualifying runs Saturday at 10:30 a.m. Eastern on Amazon Prime. And here is where the weather becomes the most important factor of the entire weekend, because if qualifying gets rained out, Casey Mears is the driver who goes home. The rules are clear. Without a qualifying session, the bump position falls to Mears based on the existing framework. Casey Mears is attempting to start his 500th career Cup Series race at Talladega. 500 starts, a milestone that only a handful of drivers in the history of the sport have ever reached, and a rain forecast could take it from him before the green flag ever drops. Daniel Dye, who would stay in the field if qualifying is canceled, arrives at his Cup debut through controversy. He made rash comments on a live stream that forced him out of his ride at Colleague Racing's Ram Trucks team. Live Fast Motorsports gave him the shot. The irony is specific and uncomfortable. A driver earning a milestone 500th start could be bumped by weather. while a driver who lost his previous ride through his own words gets to keep his debut spot regardless of what the clouds do on Saturday morning. Goodyear brings the same tire compound used at Daytona to start the season. The tire history at Talladega in the current car matters, and Tyler Reddick knows it better than almost anyone. He posted the best average finish of any Cup driver at Superspeedways in 2025. He arrives at Talladega as the early favorite, and as the most historically significant active driver in the sport right now. 5 wins in 9 races. The last driver at that pace was Dale Earnhardt, 1987, 39 years ago. He kicks off a multi-race deal with Rockstar Energy Drink this weekend. Austin Cindric is the defending winner of this race. Chase Elliott owns 1 win and 4 top 10 finishes in 8 Talladega starts in the current car, one of the most consistent superspeedway performers in the field. On the other end of the spectrum, Joey Logano has 0 top 10 finishes in 8 Talladega starts in the current car with an average finish of 27.5. Josh Berry sits at 27.8. The worst average finish of any charter driver at this track. Same race, same track, same tires. Completely different historical outcomes depending on which car number you watch. This Talladega weekend contains every story NASCAR produces in a single season compressed into 48 hours. A promise made to a dead legend being honored by 2 best friends in a drafting partnership. A YouTube creator who got told no and showed up anyway. A veteran chasing his 500th start while a rain cloud threatens to rob him of it. A controversial debut for a driver who lost his previous ride through his own words, and a historic win streak that has not been challenged since Earnhardt was alive to threaten it himself. Drop your Talladega predictions below. Does Reddick win his 6th? Does Cleetus top 10 the ARCA race? And does Casey Mears get his 500th start? 3 questions, 3 answers. Leave all of them in the comments. If you want full race coverage across all 3 series at Talladega the moment the checkered flags fall, subscribe and turn on notifications, because this weekend ends Sunday evening and the reaction video drops immediately after.